The joys of intellectual companionship won out, and here we are gonna see some of the beautiful friendships among great authors. We all know that Wordsworth and Coleridge were best friends, and they greatly influenced, criticized, and inspired each other's poetry. In 1798, the two poets jointly published the first edition of Lyrical Ballads that marks the starting point of Romantic era. Not only did Wordsworth and Coleridge have similar poetic interests, but do you know the fact that Coleridge also had a deep lasting friendship with Charles Lamb? Yes, Coleridge and Lamb were both students at Christ's Hospital School, London, which Coleridge entered at the age of 10 and Lamb at the age of 7. It was Coleridge who encouraged Lamb to pursue criticism as a literary form and to engage in journalism. And it was Lamb who described Coleridge as an archangel, a little damaged. The friendship among Byron, Mary Shelley, and Percy Shelley is celebrated as one of the closest in English literary history. They met through a mutual acquaintance. Byron befriended Percy Shelley, Mary Shelley, and Claire Clement, who was the half-sister of Mary Shelley. Byron had an affair with Claire Clement, the half-sister of Mary Shelley. They together traveled to Switzerland in 1816 and spent time together writing and bouncing ideas off each other. Byron eventually suggested they write their own ghost stories, chiefly after reading German ghost stories themselves. Mary Shelley presented a short story that was the beginning of her classic novel Frankenstein. Today, the novel Frankenstein has become one of the greatest novels of all time. Percy Shelley was a sincere admirer of Byron's poetry. The poem Julian and Meadow, written by Percy Shelley, is inspired by conversations Shelley had with Byron in Venice in the year 1818, in which they explored their different outlooks on life. Thomas Love Peacock was the friend and biographer of Percy Shelley. Peacock met Shelley in 1812 and the two became such close friends that Shelley made Peacock the executor of his will. Peacock's 4 Ages of Poetry, published in 1820, was responded by Shelley in his Defense of Poetry. Peacock's best-known work, Nightingale Bay, a romantic melancholy, is satirized with the character Scythrop, drawn from Shelley. Peacock also suggested the name Alastor for the poem of Shelley, published in 1816. Percy Shelley and Thomas Hoge. Thomas Hoge was a British barrister and writer, best known for his friendship with romantic poet Percy Shelley. He and Shelley became friends while studying at University College, Oxford, and remained close until Shelley's death. They collaborated on several literary projects, including the essay on atheism called The Necessity of Atheism. Both of them were suspended from the university following the publication of The Necessity of Atheism. It is also to be noted, Hoge's best-known literary work was The Life of Percy Bysshe Shelley, an unfinished biography of the poet. Percy Shelley and Keats. Shelley was introduced to Keats by their mutual friend Leigh Hunt, who was an English critic of the time. Though Keats found some of Shelley's advice patronizing, the two poets exchanged letters after Shelley and his wife moved to Italy. When Keats fell ill, Mary and Percy Shelley invited him to stay with them, but Keats' health remained undimmed and he died in Rome. Shelley wrote an elegy on the death of John Keats, Adonis, in the year 1821. Charlotte Bronte and Elizabeth Gaskell. A literary star after the publication of Jane Eyre, Charlotte Bronte found herself suddenly thrust into intellectual society. An established novelist of her time, Gaskell took the shy woman Charlotte Bronte under her wings and they became fast friends. Charlotte Bronte stayed at Gaskell's home for several times. Gaskell's The Life of Charlotte Bronte, published in 1857, was the first biography of Charlotte Bronte. Thank you.